So, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody, for turning up for today's talk about Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4. Today we're dealing with Chapter 4. And before we start, let's put our hands together and chant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jain Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Turubhascha Kripasandhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare
Hare Rama Rama
Hare.
Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Tharup Ki Jai Dhantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Jai Gautama
Hari Hari Bol.
So today's talk is on, like I said, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. Now, as I had spoken earlier, Bhagavad Gita is laid out very scientifically because this is a talk given by Krishna. It's Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, is actually spoken by Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And so when he is speaking, just like when any of us speak to anybody and make a presentation, the presentation is made very scientifically. It's done in an organized manner so that whatever is to be learned, whatever is to be heard, whatever information is to be passed will be done properly and best results will happen after that. And so we can learn from the Bhagavad Gita how to make presentations. So in chapter 1, Krishna set up the scene. What is the scene? What's happening? In chapter 2, he gives a summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. And particularly one part I want to remind every one of us that he says in the Bhagavad Gita is that the soul is amazing. very amazing. It can do amazing things. We can't even imagine some of the things that it can do because our minds, our intelligence, our emotions, our false ego like that cannot grasp how great the soul is. And so they all have their own idea of what the soul is, and they think, oh, that must, great means it must be like this, amazing means it must be like that. The philosophy given in the Vedas, it's like a frog in a well. The frog, all its life has seen that well and thinks that that amount of body of water is all the water that exists in creation. And so when someone comes and tells, another frog comes from another place, it comes from, say, the Atlantic Ocean, and it says, I just came from the Atlantic Ocean, and it's really very big. The other frog will think, oh, wow, is it as big as this one? Because this is the biggest. And the other frog will explain, you have no idea how great the Atlantic Ocean is compared to this well like that. This well is insignificant. So in the same way, our understanding of life, our understanding of reality is insignificant. So in the second chapter, Krishna puts this point across to Arjuna so that Arjuna understands that he has to transcend himself. Excuse me. Transcending himself means he has to go beyond his senses, his mind, his intelligence, his false ego, his emotions. He has to go past this because the greatness that exists out there is way beyond these items. So in chapter 2, he brings this point in very nicely so that Arjuna's mind will open up, his heart will open up, his consciousness will open up, and they'll blossom. And in that blossoming, then Krishna can start planting the seed of the greatest truths, the greatest results, the greatest performance, the best experiences like that. And then, amazingly, in chapter 3, what he does is that he lets Arjuna know that you are an individual person, Arjuna. Each and every one of us is an individual person. And each individual person has two types of natures. One type of nature is one's personal nature, which is very specific to each person, and one is a little bit more generic, where all of us are similar in some ways. Like all of us are creatures of love. Everybody looks for affection in their life. That is natural. But how they look for the affection will be different. So there is a generic part to us, a specific part to us. There's a part to us while we're in this world. There are some things that affect us as our nature, and so whatever we do is called our swadharma. That means those things we have to do because we're in the material world, like that. And then there's another part which is transcendental, which is about the spiritual world, and it's our ultimate nature, and that is called sanatana dharma. That becomes our activity. So we do both of these together, and so we should understand our nature. And in this chapter, we will learn about the guru, and the guru is one who understands the nature of the disciple and engages the disciple based on their nature. And also, it is the instruction of Krishna when he comes as Gauranga Mahaprabhu that everybody must become guru. Because when you become guru, then what happens is that as you speak to others, you're going to become very convinced that what you are saying is the truth, because you will understand it by knowledge, and this is why this chapter is very important. It's called transcendental knowledge. And so what is this knowledge all about? Why is it important? Is what chapter 4 will deal with. And so chapter 4 will show, now that you understand that you have to act according to your nature, oh Arjuna, please learn so that that knowledge will attach to your nature and become part of your nature, and then the soul will do amazing, amazing, amazing things. So in this chapter, it is described that spiritual knowledge is known as Shruti. Shruti means that which is spoken by the Lord himself. Why the Lord himself? Because he is the origin of everything. Lord Brahma, who is the one who created this material world, and there are many Brahmas, and they create many material worlds like that, many universes, material universes like that, says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradi Govinda, Sarva Karana. So Krishna is the cause of all causes, and he is the one who is the origin of everything, and nothing comes before him. Anadir Adi means No one comes before him, and he is the first, like that. And he loves all of the living entities. He is known as Govinda. Govinda means one who loves the senses, meaning each person, and loves the cows, like that. The cow is a mother, and the mother must be respected and loved. And this is our culture. And so this Shruti means also that which is heard, because then you can really hear. Because when the Lord is speaking, then your ears will open up and they'll be able to hear. And this is why we're given 2 ears, so that we can hear properly from all sides nicely. Generally, we think that the mouth is more important, the nose is more important, and all this is all very important. But for Shruti, that which is heard, the ears are very important. And so in bygone ages, people would hear this type of knowledge and then remember it, and then assimilate it in their lives, and perfectly communicate it to others, because the teacher is the best student, without any adulteration, without any changes, like that, not adding and subtracting. And so chapter 4 is entitled Transcendental Knowledge, for it is knowledge which outlines how one can establish one's divine connection with God. And there's a famous Vedic aphorism that says that aim to see God through the ears rather than through the eyes. So this is where we have personal vision of the Lord. So then the first 10 verses of chapter 4 describe that just as every gadget, like the computer, comes with an instruction manual. And when we first started with computers, they used to have written instruction manuals. Now the instruction manual is on the computer itself. In the same way, this entire universe comes with guidelines, which enlighten one about its purpose and function. And such knowledge is of divine origin. It is imparted at the time of creation. Right from the time of creation, Krishna says, I first spoke this science to the sun god Vivashwan. And then Vivashwan spoke it to Manu, the father of mankind, and he spoke it to Ikshvaku, who spoke it to Narada, like that. There is a passing down of this information, this knowledge, from the highest source, Krishna himself, to us, unadulterated, unchanged, so that now we can become totally fired up in the right way, encouraged in the right way, and do amazing things, because the soul is who we are, and the soul is amazing. So like that. So this is the system, and even the greatest people in creation in the past, they're known as the Raja Rishis. It means these people are emperors, but they're also saints. They're saintly emperors. They understood it in this way, even though they were very smart, amazingly smart, yet they understood it in this way. And so they would allow this knowledge to come through. And so Krishna explains that this eternal education system was originally set up by him. Evam parampara praptam imam raja rishi vidu. He says, I'm the one who set this system up. This system perpetuates in the universe through qualified and saintly persons who impart spiritual knowledge to the masses in a dynamic, relevant, and practical way. So it's dynamic, it's relevant, and it's practical. And this is something we have to understand for those of us as devotees who reach out to other people. Please understand that whatever we say to others, however we deal with others, has to be dynamic. Dynamic means that everybody feels energized to do amazing things because they are amazing. So how can they do those amazing things? And it's relevant. Relevant meaning that it is according to the nature of each person and to the people who are around us. Not that we're trying to force our own knowledge, our own understanding on others. We can't do that. That's not going to work. And we may think we became very successful. Hiranyakashipu felt he became very successful because he was able to do this and subjugate the 3 worlds. Even the demigods were under his control. Every planet in this universe was in his control. There's not a place that a point of a needle can sit that did not belong to Hiranyakashipu. This is how successful he became. And in the end, what happens? Lord Krishna comes as Nityananda and squishes him like a bug between 2 fingernails, like he squishes him like that, because he offended the devotee. And then Krishna became very angry and had to give him his final result, the total result. And so there was not a very great ending for all the hard work, intelligence, and everything he put in. so that he could own the whole creation. And none of us are that powerful in this world that we even own one country, or to speak of, one country. We don't even own one state, one county, one city, like that. Generally, not even one street, and some of us not even one house. So, yet we think we're so smart and we're so great. We can't work like that. We have to be practical. Practical means let the system work. When the system works, it's going to create amazing things. It was designed like that. Krishna designed the material world so that the soul can have amazing experiences. So then, material creation essentially is like a university wherein we can rediscover our relationship with God. So it's also described as a prison house for correction. It's also described as a university where we can rediscover our relationship with God and become truly amazing. Every one of us, every person, every living entity, Krishna describes, can do that. So Hridam Sarva Bhutana, Krishna says, every living entity. Mame Vamsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, like that. So as the creator and maintainer, Krishna periodically appears in the world to re-inject spirituality, remove materialistic influences, and ensure the smooth functioning of the universe. How kind Krishna is. He will come again and again, and that's what happened during the Mahabharata, that he came at the time of Mahabharata happened, and at the Battle of Kurukshetra, he's giving this explanation to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us. And why to Arjuna? He says, I'm speaking like this to you, Arjuna, because you are my friend and devotee. So that's who we have to become. We have to become friends of Krishna, and we have to become devotees of Krishna. That all understanding is given to us. Then we will be friends of everybody, and we will be devotees of everybody. Because Krishna says, one who thinks that he is my devotee is not my devotee. But one who is the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So like that, we learn that everybody is a devotee of Krishna, and we become devoted to all devotees. And somehow, however we can serve, we serve them for their greatest happiness, so that they can do amazing, amazing things. And then there is no enviousness, because we want others to do amazing things. There's nothing to be envious about. If they do amazing things, we celebrate it. We're so happy that they did amazing things. We're not looking for any credit, because the credit really belongs to Krishna. We're not looking for any gratification of our senses, because the gratification of our senses is very poor. Gratification of the soul is much greater. It's much more powerful. It's much more meaningful, and the experience creates much more bliss. Just like the gratification in a few dollars is very small, but the gratification of $1 billion is much more. So similarly, the senses are like a few dollars, and the soul is like trillions and trillions of dollars. So then the next set of 6 verses, or 5 verses, Krishna explains that most people know something about religion. And of course, a lot of people think they know everything about religion and something about God. But their ideas and information can be quite hazy and confused. It's normally quite hazy and confused. So much so that I would even venture to say that most gurus do not know about religion properly, or understand God properly. In fact, we will see later on that most of the gurus of this world are actually not really gurus, because a real guru is the one who can understand the nature of a person and then engage them according to their nature, so that the soul can reveal its amazingness, and the love of God can become very, very intimate and very, very blissful, amazingly blissful, like that. Not like most gurus in this world, or 99.7% of the gurus. They're looking for money. They're looking, somehow the disciple will give me some money. The disciple will give me some love. The disciple will give me some respect. I will become honorable. I'll become great. People will be recognized. I will write books, and people will know me as great people, and they will worship me, and like that. This is not good. This is they call Garu. Garu means that a person who is a bogus guru. So when transcendental knowledge is received through the eternal education system, one gains accurate understanding. Proper understanding, accurate. You might remember earlier on we spoke in chapter 3, you have to have an accurate focus. Number one thing, accurate focus. Remember? And so here, this is what will give us that accurate focus. Now we can see in chapter 4. So Krishna clears up 3 most common misunderstandings in Eastern philosophy. Eastern philosophy is the one that is the most powerful philosophy. There are three big misunderstandings in Eastern philosophy. In verse 11, he addresses the misconception that all spiritual paths lead to the same destination. Krishna explains that while there is unity in diversity, there are also different gradations of spiritual elevation. So all paths don't lead to the same final goal, they lead to different levels of consciousness. And to rise to the highest level of consciousness, or what is called the consciousness of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Param Satya, Para Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to rise to that level of truth, one has to take the path of the Bhagavad Gita, because that is what will explain it and understand it properly from a guru who comes in parampara. So if we like to learn from others, one of the first questions we have to ask them is, what is your parampara that comes from Krishna? Please tell me the names of the people, all the way from Krishna. And they don't start with Krishna and then Vivishwan and Manu and Ikshvaku and Narada, like that. You should know that obviously this is some, made up parampara. And that made up parampara will only give up made up results. The made up results may be great. So great that it may even make you a Hiranyakashipu. You can own the whole three creation. And then you'll get squished like a bug between Krishna's nails. Because ultimately, this is why Krishna showed Arjuna the universal form. You could see when Arjuna saw the universal form, he was totally shocked by it. There were all these people going inside Krishna's mouth and getting crushed like that and things like that. And this is actually because these people were teaching false sciences and trying to become God themselves, mini gods like that, mini Ishvaras. And that's a big mistake, as we saw in the explanations given in chapter 2. Idea is not to become the Lord, but to become servant. So then, in verse number 12, Krishna addresses the misconception that Eastern scriptures talk of polytheism and the worship of many gods. Krishna re-emphasizes the monotheistic science that there is only one God. All these other gods who exist are demigods, and they actually also serve Krishna. And whatever we ask from them, they ask from Krishna and then give to us. So you can go directly to Krishna, and Krishna wants that because we are his children. Just like those of us who are parents, we want our children to approach us, not to approach somebody who will then approach us, and then we will give it to that person will give it to my children, and my children then think, I'm not the one who gave it, it was the other person, the middle person who gave it. And then the relationship with me becomes a bad relationship for some reason or another, and the relationship with them is trying to be good, but then it doesn't really work that way. So Krishna is creating this understanding that everyone is his child. Those demigods are also Krishna's children. And yes, all children can help each other, but ultimately the Father is one, and that is God himself. Then in verse 13, he addresses the concern that the caste system is unfair and exploitative. The caste system being the system of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, is unfair and exploitative. Krishna underlines the true criteria and purpose of such classification. The idea is that you're not born as a Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. It is by your qualifications, by your actions, by your nature that you will be judged as one of them, or you will not be judged but be classified as one of them. And each of those classifications has a purpose to serve the society, and then the society will be a happy society. So all these 4 classifications are very important classifications. They're all important people, and they should do things according to their nature and then become truly amazingly successful in their lives. And many examples given of a person born to a Shudra family and became the greatest of all Brahmins. A good example is Narada Muni himself. He was the son of a maidservant. Yeah, very simple maidservant. She actually knew nothing, had no education, nothing. But she served some great Bhakti Vedantas, some great saintly persons. And he would actually help her in the service. And then he would eat some of the remnants of the food that they would leave. And from that and their blessings, he became the topmost devotee in creation. So great that he can travel to the spiritual world and come back again. He can do anything and everything. That is an amazing soul. So here's a great example. A person is not born in high parentage, but does amazing, amazing things. And there are people who are born to high parentage and can become very decrepit, meaning that they can actually lose their character in such a way, gain character in such a way that they lose good character and become persons of very low character like that. So then in the next 9 verses, Krishna explains, talks about reactions. And so he says, while transcendental knowledge helps one to clear up philosophical doubts, it also helps one clear up the karmic bank balance. Excuse me. So this karma is a universal law of nature. For every action, there will be equal and opposite reaction. So while bad karma is obviously undesirable, Krishna also explains that even good karma binds one to material existence. And so beyond this good and bad karma, beyond good and bad activities, are activities that are performed on the spiritual level, means they're seen in connection to Krishna. You might remember of the 5 things a person can do to become the greatest in their lives. We said the first thing is the accurate focus. So if the focus is correct, it becomes spiritual, because then the purpose is to please God. The purpose is to love God like that. And so when that happens, then the activities rise to a spiritual level. And that is called action, which yields no reaction and ultimately frees one from anxieties and entanglements of this world. Such action is known as akarma. So Krishna is explaining how to do things in this world so that everything that we do does not bind us to this world, because this world, as you might remember, in chapter 2 was described as a place of misery and a place that is unstable. And we can see that in our lives. So many things become unstable. The greatest economy in the world, the United States, can become unstable because of one virus. Just one virus can make it unstable. So we can see this type of instability is there, and so many miseries are there. People are dying, and people are worried, and so many things happen like that. So how do we actually overcome and free oneself from these types of anxieties and entanglements? That's called akarma, activity that is done based on pleasing Krishna and according to the spiritual education that Krishna spoke about earlier. And then finally, in the final 18 verses, Krishna speaks about how, in order to acquire, understand, and realize this transcendental knowledge, one must make sacrifices. So, again, going back to this idea of transcendental knowledge is called transcendental because it transcends this world. It transcends our mind. It transcends our senses, our intelligence, our emotions, our false ego, like that. It transcends all of these. So that knowledge, what it does is that it provides 2 great benefits. One great benefit that it provides is that it allows us to become amazingly successful. And so that we can be amazingly successful and become amazing souls, it also burns up the reactions from the past that are holding us back, like that. So both of these things, it's able to do very nicely. So this transcendental knowledge is very, very important. So while material knowledge is not transcendental. So material knowledge is dependent on caliber, the caliber of a person. How educated are you? How smart are you materially? How learned are you materially? So that you will do amazing things and become a great, businessman or a great scientist or a great philosopher or a great religionist or a great whatever in this world that people are after, becoming actors, actresses, famous people, powerful people, President of the United States of America, Prime Minister of India, Brahma, the creator of the material universe, Indra, the king of the demigods, like that, Varuna, the king of the ocean, so many things like that, Vayu, the king of wind. So many things, we aspire to become great personalities, like that. So this is material knowledge, and material knowledge is based on caliber like this. What is your caliber? Based on your caliber, you will be given positions like that. And this is why these education systems in this world where people go and learn, pay thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn, gives them caliber. And they think, now I have the caliber, I'll become successful and I'll associate with other people who have caliber, and now we'll do even greater things because in association we'll become more powerful. This is what organizations teach people, but they're really only thinly disguised money-making systems so that they can become rich. Because the American dream, and pretty much all over the world, the dream is become rich and famous. So they're all the rich and famous chasing this. We call it riff-raff. Rich and famous is R-A-F, riff-raff, chasing the riff-raff. And, having so many difficulties in life and getting more into anxiety, more entanglements. Just high-level anxiety, high-level entanglement. That's all happens from that. So this is material knowledge. And then the other knowledge is the spiritual knowledge. What does spiritual knowledge do? It builds character. Builds character. Character is what will really carry us from this world to the next world. It will allow us to get out of this prison house of the material world. It will allow us to qualify from the university of knowledge and then become amazing personalities, amazing souls that we really are, but now hidden by Maya in the form of the senses, the mind, the intelligence, false ego, like that. So we have to get past these things. So then Krishna describes, excuse me, that sacrifices help refine one's character so that they can become eligible to achieve this knowledge. And the biggest of the sacrifices is to relinquish one's pride and humbly submit oneself before a bona fide guru. Now, who is a bona fide guru? Krishna says that a bona fide guru is one who has seen the truth. It's called Tattvadarshi. So this bona fide guru is a person who obviously comes in this parampara. That's what Krishna explained earlier. Evam parampara praptam. That we, from this parampara, we learn from the teacher who is in parampara. So that, and that teacher has to be a bona fide guru, meaning that he or she is only explaining things to us and relating with us so that we can become totally successful, totally amazing, as Krishna describes. Like that. No other purpose. There should be no other motive. If there's any other motive, then that guru is not a bona fide guru. They may be seen as a bona fide guru, they may be celebrated as a bona fide guru, they may have 5 million disciples and 100 million disciples and 5 billion disciples, and all of them may think this person is the real God, but that person is not bona fide guru, according to Bhagavad Gita. This is why chapter 4 is very important. Chapter 4 says, everybody must become guru, which means train yourself under a real bona fide guru, and then reach out to others and train them to become gurus also, so they become bona fide gurus. And that way, every soul that is being touched in this manner becomes totally amazing. So Krishna says, by faithful service and sincere inquiry within such a relationship with such a bona fide guru, the heart becomes the fertile ground for spiritual knowledge to blossom. Then the spiritual knowledge will blossom in the heart. And amazing things will start happening. And we will realize that the things that we were chasing in the past that we thought were most important are important, but not the most important. The most important thing is to have love of God. Because in love of God, everything will come. In fact, it is the love of God that makes the whole world happen. Nothing would happen if love of God stopped. And you might remember I was describing earlier that when Krishna plays the flute, the sound of the flute is called Venu Gita. And that sound is pure love of God. Pure love of God that's emanating. And that allows the spiritual world and the material world, all living entities, and even non-living entities, so-called non-living entities, we call them non-moving. They're living, but they're non-moving, like that. To actually do things, to act, to become active. Otherwise, they will be frozen. No movement will happen, nothing will happen. but it's the sound of the flute. It is pure love of God that is making everything happen. And so the heart wants to receive that pure love of God because the heart originally comes from that place called Golok Vrindavan, where there is pure love of God, nothing but pure love of God, which allows people to do amazing, amazing things, including creating creations and populating those creations and do amazing things, and one soul can do all of that in Golok Vrindavan. So this is why the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to remind Arjuna who you really are. You're thinking that you're a Kshatriya and that you're the son of this person, the grandson of this person, and that it is your purpose to win a kingdom or to have a happy life in this world. Yes, those are your swadharma. You must do those things, no problem. But try to also understand your eternal nature, which is that you come from this place called Golok Vrindavan. And that if you go, when you go back there, you will see that you are actually far more amazing than you thought that you were in this world, and that all these relatives and friends are far more amazing. And so if we can start relating with one another like that, this is the real science of Krishna consciousness. And so if we do that, then truly not only each and every one of us will become totally successful and happy, but the whole creation will become happy, because this is very contagious. This is very contagious. And no virus can stop. Nothing can stop. Not all the viruses in the world that came in the past, that are here now, and that will be here in the future, put together, can affect us just like one drop of water in an ocean cannot affect you as much as the whole ocean can affect you. So these issues become very minuscule when understood in the background of the amazing nature of the soul. What to speak of the amazing nature of the super soul, the supreme, ultimate supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna himself, who is our eternal Father and only wants the best for each and every one of us. Even I was reading this morning how the Acharyas describe, even if we are the most sinful person in the world, if we are sitting on the boat of transcendental knowledge, which is what chapter 4 talks about, then the destination is Krishna. The destination is the very best. But the idea is to come and sit on this boat. And that is what chapter 4 encourages us to do. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop here and ask if any of you would like to say something or ask any question.
If you want to ask a question, maybe you can turn on your video and ask, or you can raise your hand, and then Nityananda can, ask you to ask the question, or you can post in the chat box.
One thing I wanted to say, as some of you are thinking of what question you might like to ask or whatever, is that one of the secrets of this chapter is that the fastest way to become successful is to gain the blessing of someone who is much more powerful than us. And obviously there is nobody more powerful than Krishna himself. And then all the great personalities who are actually connected to Krishna are also very, very, very powerful persons. So if we have, whenever we do something, if we first seek the blessing, this is why in some cultures, particularly Indian culture, we see people go and touch the feet of the parents before they start the day. When they meet somebody important, they went and touch their feet. Why? Because they're seeking the mercy of that person. And so when we are seeking the mercy of that person, then by the mercy of that person, we're able to actually do things that are totally amazing. So always remember this, that whenever we speak on behalf of those who are greater than us, and we become like the transparent bimedia. We become the copper wire that is bringing the electricity from the original grid to its destination. To act in that way, that's when amazing, amazing things will happen in our lives. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Sure, please.
This chapter I was just going through, and there are many slokas which are very popular slokas from this chapter.
Yes, yes.
There's one sloka, 4.7, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya pradhanmanam sajarmaya. So this sloka, Krishna says, right, that he comes to kill the demons and protect the devotees.
Yes.
And in one way, when we were hearing from Srila Prabhupada also telling that when the collective sin increases, this natural calamities happens, and people get killed in wholesale, one shot.
Yes.
So in one way, we can see this coronavirus as enemy of the world.
Yes.
And the other way to look at it is the collective sin is so high in the world that this has to happen in some way or other.
Yes.
And in today, one of the slokas in fourth chapter, in the purport, Prabhupada also says that such situations actually create, all these situations are for Krishna, upliftment of devotees, and somehow we get closer to Krishna consciousness. And I was relating to what we are doing right now. I was hearing that some of the Bhakti Rishas, which was happening only once in a week, now happening almost every day.
Yes.
We are doing Bhagavad Gita every day. I have never done Bhagavad Gita every day. Now we are doing Bhagavad Gita every day. So sometimes situations helps us to be more Krishna consciousness. So if you can kindly tell us a little bit more about this subject.
Yes. One of the things that we can say is that, like, say, for example, when the body has very high temperature, why does the body have such high temperature? Why does it go to 103, 104, and then we're thinking, I'm going to die now? It's because the body is trying to tell us we have to make some corrections, so that then what will happen is that we will be fine again, because obviously some disease is getting into the body and something is affecting the body in a way that's going to really kill the body. So before the body dies, so that the body does not die, the body creates a reaction in such a way that I become very sick. Now I know, oh my God, I'm feeling really bad, I'm really sick, I've got high temperature, I've got to go to the doctor, get some medicine and fix myself and do other things, which in Ayurveda are better ways to do things. And then I become well again, and then I'm fine again. So this coronavirus is like the temperature gauge, Okay, the temperature has shot up now, 103, 104 degrees. The temperature has become because of all the collective sin that has been committed. So now what we will do is we will attack the disease. You see what I'm saying? How we attack the disease is by making correctional efforts. And in those correctional efforts, the temperature will come down and we'll be fine again. Except that if we continue committing more sins, then again the temperature will go up, again it will come down like that. So really, two things. One is, everybody is so smart, they're not just going to let the disease kill everybody. We will do so many things that, excuse me, just like when you fall sick, you can't go to work, right? So you lose 2 or 3 days work. And what happens is, if you lose the 2 or 3 days work, you lost the pay that you would have got in those 2 or 3 days. Or if you didn't do business for 2 or 3 days, it can affect your business like that. So it'll cost you something. So it'll cost us something. But what will happen is many good things will come out of this. There is a saying in the Vedas, in every challenge, there is many opportunities. So what is going to happen is some of the best businesses, some of the best educational systems, some of the best religious programs, some of the best of this world will come out of this program. You will see that actually happening. Many people are planning, sitting down, now they can't go to work, they're sitting at home thinking, how are we going to do things? They're reflecting, why did this happen? What did I not do right? What could I have done better? What can we do better so these types of things don't happen? How can I take advantage of this situation and turn it into something positive from a negative? So all these wonderful things are actually going to happen. And we should see it as devotees, that this is Krishna's arrangement for us, so that I can become better in my sadhana. I can do better by chanting more, hearing more, reading more, like that, making more prasadam, giving it out to others, talking to others, showing them some love, showing them support. There are people who really need support at this time. We must support other people. They're all children of God. They're all children of Krishna. So all these things happen, and as a result, we become better people. We become smarter. We do greater things. I've seen this in our movement. At times when our movement has been tested the most, at that time the movement rose to the challenge and did amazing things that in the future allowed the movement to have strengths that it would not have had it not been tested when the problems happen. And this is true for every devotee. This is true for every person and every organization. So for us, we should actually become doubly encouraged now, quadruply encouraged, 1 million times more encouraged that, okay, let's get some things done now. Let's do something. Death can come to anybody at any time. It doesn't take a virus to kill people. Most people do not die by viruses. Most people die naturally. I mean, yeah, a lot of people die with diseases, this, that, and the other. But most people die naturally. Death just comes, or they have an accident or something like that, and they die. You see what I'm saying? That is going to happen. Death means simply the changing of the body. We can't actually become so fearful of death that it stops us from doing great things in our life. Nothing should stop us. At the same time, we have to be careful. We can't, like Prabhupada says, knowing that there's a tiger in the jungle, we don't go to the jungle, to face the tiger, look for the tiger, because we know that it'll maul us, and then, then we might die. We might get badly hurt, and then other people have to look after us, and we will cause problems for other people to have to look after us, this, that, and the other. We don't do things like that. So we don't court this disease. We wash our hands, keep some social distancing, this, that, and the other, whatever we ask to do those things. Because these doctors are smart. They're not silly people. They're very smart people. Materialists are not stupid people. They're very smart. They have caliber. That's why they're called materialists. And so, the intelligence is also useful to us so that we can do our swadharma properly. Now, to do the sanatana dharma, which is our eternal dharma, which is where we're going all the time, where we will be all the time, for that we have to also take up some strong activities like that. So this is the opportunity, and let's do that. Thank you, Saurabh Madhu, for that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. There are some questions in the chat box, Prabhuji.
And so the first one was, can you please explain again how we can get results of the previous karma? How we can get results. So the answer is by transcendental knowledge. This knowledge, as you gain the knowledge automatically burns your karma. You don't have to do anything. You just have to hear transcendental knowledge. That's called Shruti. Shruti means katha, Krishna katha, like that. That's why we say that those who listen to katha, listen to this type of talk, who read the Bhagavad Gita, who read Srimad Bhagavatam, as you're reading, as you're hearing Prabhupada speaking or any devotee speaking purely with a pure heart, then that'll automatically burn your karma. It'll burn away your karma. So this is the fastest way to get rid of previous karma. So Prabhuji, can you please reiterate the 3 misconceptions? So verse 11, like I said, addresses the misconception that all spiritual paths lead to the same destination. It doesn't. They lead to different levels of consciousness. The path that leads to the highest consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. And then verse 12 addresses the misconception that there are many gods. And Krishna says, no, there are not many gods. There are many empowered personalities, but there is one original, ultimate, most empowered personality, and that is God himself, and that's Krishna. And then verse 13, of course, Krishna takes many forms, all of them are God, but it's the same person. And then verse 13 addresses the concern that the caste system is unfair and exploitative. But when the caste system is properly understood and practiced in the right way, it's very potent, and it actually has very good purpose. It is not unfair, and it is not exploitative. Actually, everybody feels a lot of love in that system, and everybody becomes happy, no matter what part of the caste system they're in. And then it says, okay. Those are the 2 questions that I saw online.
Prabhuji, with your permission, can I quickly announce some of the names who are on the call, and we would like to thank them?
Yes, please do.
So Ganapati Krishna Prabhuji, Rupnago Prabhuji, Namasharan Prabhuji, Lakshmi Dasi Mataji, Tribanga Prabhu, Arvind Prabhu, Madhav Rajnath Prabhu, Rajni Mataji, Preeti Mataji, Sundari Mataji, Mark Prabhu, Balaram Prasad Prabhu, Manisha Mataji, Abhirama Prabhu, Arvind Prabhu, Rameshwar Mohan Das Prabhu, Sudhir Prabhu, Shekhar Prabhu, Ritika Mataji, Dipender Sharma Prabhu, Suresh Prabhu, and we have few more. Dipender Sharma, Rajni Mataji, Suresh Prabhu, Swati Mataji, Rama Mataji, Chetra Mataji, Hari Krishna Madali Prabhu, Alex Prabhu, Rajan Prabhu, Naresh Prabhu, Piyush Prabhu, Kante Shuram Prabhu, Divya Mataji, Siddheshwari Priya Mataji, Divya Namadas Prabhu, Lavanya Mataji. So sorry if I missed any names. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. And you can invite all your friends also from tomorrow. And you can ask more questions to Nityananda Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very good.
And basically, and thank you very much, everybody who is on the call. You're all very wonderful devotees. I seek your blessings so that I may also practice some Krishna consciousness nicely and practice being a nice human being, having nice relationship with others. But by your blessings, that will become possible. One thing that I want to suggest is, as we go on, the more we're going to go into Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to go more into strategies instead of the philosophy. Because the philosophy is very clear now, it's getting very clear what the philosophy is. So in every chapter, what are the strategies we can learn from that? So we can apply these strategies in our lives, and then based on that application of that strategy, not only we will become totally happy, but we will encourage others in their happiness. And then people will like us a lot. They will really want to be with us because they'll understand this is the best knowledge. We cannot, billions of dollars cannot pay for this knowledge. And yet it's been given totally out of the love of one's heart, and out of love. And that is the most powerful thing. And that allow also people to do the things they need to do, which means earn the money they need to earn, become powerful, become famous, become healthy, become knowledgeable, become beautiful, and whatever else that people aspire for. All these things must happen. That's all Swadharma, and we will promote the Swadharma. But the basis of the Swadharma is Sanatana Dharma. And so if we get the foundation right, if say, for example, I like to drink a lot of liquor, if there was an ocean of liquor, I'd be the happiest person in the world because I can just go to the ocean and drink as much liquor as I want to, whenever I want to. So similarly, transcendental knowledge is like that. It is the ocean of three things: the ocean of life, the ocean of knowledge, and the ocean of bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. It is the ocean of Sat Chit Ananda and transcends to the highest planetary system in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, where amazing, amazing, amazing things are happening. And we need to do that here. There's a saying in Krishna consciousness: when you go out on book distribution, you try to preach to somebody not in the material world, you are now in the spiritual world. So let's do spiritual world activities also while we're in the material world, because that will give us transcendental bliss, and we'll become happy. Thank you very, very much. So can we do some chanting now?
Hare Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu. Can I ask one question?
Please, Prabhu, please.
In one of the verse, Krishna says he descends every millennium. So I didn't understand what that millennium means. Is it material millennium or is it a spiritual millennium? Can you explain that one?
Yes. So millennium means, in the spiritual context, it means the different ages, Like, say, for example, in the Vedic understanding, there are 4 ages: Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta. When Krishna comes, Dwapara and Treta switch, so it becomes Satya Yuga, Treta, Dwapara, and then Kali Yuga. But otherwise, generally, it is Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, then Kali Yuga. So these yugas are like millenniums. They're considered like millenniums. And so in each yuga, Krishna is going to appear. And his purpose of his, he's going to have 2 purposes. But of the 2 purposes, one of it is going to be the 99% purpose, the other is going to be the 1% purpose. The 99% purpose is to show love to his people, his devotees. And who is not a devotee of Krishna? Everyone is a devotee of Krishna. Some know it, some don't know it. That's all it is. So the point is that he comes to show love. Just like, for example, when we live our lives with our children, 99% of the purpose of our life is that our children will become totally successful. 1% is so that we might also give them some tough love and correct them, punish them if we have to, this, that, and the other. But that's 1%. 99% purpose is really to have things happen perfectly. So Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna, vinashaya chadushkitam. So the idea is that this paritranaya means to show love, to allow a person to know, you're so amazing, you're my child, you belong to Golok Vrindavan, let's go back there and have a real nice party. That is Krishna's purpose. Vinashaya chadushkitam, he doesn't have to do it himself, he's got many agents who can take care of it quite easily. But he does a little bit of it himself just to set the example, that I will not tolerate people who will offend my devotees and hurt my devotees, like that. So he comes in every millennium, and he comes in different ways. Sometimes he'll come in person. Sometimes he'll come in the form of an expansion. Like in Sati Yuga, he came as Kapila Muni. In Dwapara Yuga, normally he comes as one of the Vishnu incarnations. And in this Dwapara Yuga, he came as Krishna himself. In Treta Yuga, he comes as Lord Ramachandra. So, and then these yugas, and then Kali Yuga, he comes in the form of the holy name, like that. So now, one out of those, these 4 yugas cycle 1,000 times in Dev Brahma. And so in those 1,000 cycles, in every one of the Sati Yugas, Lord Kapila will come. In every one of the Trita Yugas, Lord Ram will come. In all of the Dwapara Yugas, some Vishnu Tattva will come, but in one of them, Krishna himself will come. And we're very lucky because the last one that happened, the last Dwapara Yuga, Krishna himself came. So that's very lucky. 1 in 1,000 cycles, Krishna himself will come. And then when he comes, because he does amazing things and people don't quite understand, he comes as his own devotee, as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to show us by practical example. This is why I was saying in the future, I'll be speaking less philosophy and more into, I'll say some philosophy, but I'll go more into strategies through the philosophy. And so that's what Lord Chaitanya does. And so these are the different millenniums, and who comes in these millenniums? Krishna is coming in these different ways. That's what he's explaining. Very good. Thank you very much.
There are some comments in the chat box.
Okay.
Would you like to read, Prabhuji, or you want me to read?
No, please read them. Mine is not as strong as yours.
Jai. So there's Kanti Suram Prabhuji says, Hare Krishna to everyone, and thank you, Prabhuji. Blissful Kirtan, prayers for everyone.
Yeah.
Rama Mataji said, comment, Hare Krishna, thanks for the class. This is the time to purify ourselves. Krishna consciousness is the only easy process to purify our existence. Also distribute Krishna consciousness to others. Rasumai Rama Mataji. And one more devotee, I could not see his name. It says iPhone. It says, enjoyable and knowledgeable class. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think those are the comments. I would like to request everybody to turn on the videos. We would like to try, if possible, we can, do this program with everybody's video on. So this is a good time to test, and we can see each other also. Please turn on your videos if you don't mind. And if anybody would like to say any comment, you can give the comments too about Nityananda Prabhu, his classes, about today's class. If you learned something special you want to share. So we want to be more interactive. You can unmute yourself and you can share.
I'll raise my hand.
Yes, please.
Rajan Sobani. And I've got to tell you, I missed checking the messages on the group, and I regret doing that last week. So to my loss, I missed the last 5 days or 6 days. And today's my first day, and I must thank you. Everything you said is so heartwarming and comforting. And I really, really enjoyed this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Prabhuji, we have some recordings for you. We'd like to share with you. You can reach out to any one of us. In most of the groups, there are recordings. So you can hear Prabhuji's classes from day one.
Very nice. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, Haribol.
Haribol.
Okay. So should we start with the kirtan, or what should we do?
Yes, Prabhuji, we'll give one more chance to anybody who would like to speak, and then you can start the Kirtan if you don't mind.
Okay. No, not at all. Please. I'm very happy to do that.
I would like to see Rupanaga Prabhu if he's there. I don't see him.
I see him at the Jayanti.
Maybe Rupanaga Prabhu, senior most devotee, he can share something. Yes, Haribol. I'll unmute you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Oh, there he is. He's got Norma Robinson written on
Can
it.
you're not able to, can you unmute yourself, Prabhuji? I'm not able to unmute.
Ah, there you are. You're unmuted now.
Yes.
It's unmuted.
Okay. Oh, okay, I've got it. Now I am on.
Would you like to share something?
There you are.
You look like Santa, Prabhuji.
I think Prabhuji is not unmuted. It's only Mataji who was unmuted.
Yeah, now you are.
All right, now my microphone is on.
Mataji has to mute herself, I think, so that your voice will be clear.
Yes, can you hear me all right now?
Yes, it's echoing, but we can hear you.
Let me turn my volume up on my microphone on my speaker. This is one of the most amazing ways of sharing with the community that I have seen in my 40 years of being in Dallas. So I'm very pleased, Nityananda Prabhu, that you're coming through. I would like for you to try to get a different microphone to use.
Okay.
Because your audio is not coming through as clearly as Sarvajai Madhava Prabhu's is coming.
Okay. I'll find out today what I can do about it.
Yesterday was amazing, Nityananda Prabhuji. Today was little disturbance, but yesterday was amazing.
I'll double check it again before I get on this time. Just make sure.
Right.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, as you wish. You can start Kirtan, or what do you want to do? You want to say something? You can say.
No, this is fine. I think we'll start with Kirtan. And because today is Monday, some people are also starting their work.
Yeah.
So we'll do Lord Nrsimha's prayer.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadaine.
Praladadaine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilatanaka nakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha.
Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha.
Yato yato yami tato Nrsimha.
Yato yami tato Nrsimha.
Pahe Nrsimha Vidaye Nrsimha.
Ahir Nrsimha Hirdaye Nrsimha.
Nrsimham Adim Sharanam Prapadye.
Nrsimham Sharanam Prapade.
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipur Tanubringam Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare.
Avakara
Adbhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa
Jai
Jagadisha Hare
Jai
Jagadisha Hare
Jai
Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare.
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare
Jai
Jagadisha Hare
Jai
Jagadisha Hare
Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Shesh, Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Shesh Jaya
Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Shri
Lakshmi Narasimha
Narasimha
Jaya
Jaya Ananta Shri
Jaya Vigna Vinash Jaya Nrsimha Dev, Vigna Vinash Jaya Nrsimha Deva Jaya
Vigna Vinash Jaya Narasimha Dev Vigna Vinash Jaya Narasimha Dev
Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya
Narahari 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 Jaya Narahari
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya
Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya
Jagadguru Shila Prabhupada Jagadguru Shila Prabhupada
Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jai Guru Deva Jaya
Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva
Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya
Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada
Jai Gauranga Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Nitya
Gaura Haribo Haribo Haribo
Jai Gauranga Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Nitya Gaura
Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo
Jai Gauramanande Hari Hari
Haribo.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class, Kirtan.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
Really appreciate your everyday class, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All glories to Prabhupada. Vanchakal, Kripasan, Bhuvya, Namaha.
Ananta Kodi Vaishnavanti. Jai. Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Thank you.